Hey, this is Candia Raquel, founder of Centro de Poder, and you are at the Sensual Sessions podcast, the place to explore sensing pleasure through your senses and moving in a way that is completely free from inhibition. If you haven't already, please go to www.centrodepoder.com and get yourself signed up to get these episodes delivered on your inbox weekly. And today we have a very special guest. This is Monja. She is from the other side of the world. I am in Mexico. So tell us, Munja, welcome. Tell us about what you do. How did you become interested in somatic movement? How is that beautiful place you live in? I can see the trees and maybe a purple tree. Is that a jacaranda?
Yes. It's a jacaranda. It's now the jacaranda season. So you have purple trees
Purple
everywhere. So
trees.
it's really, really beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much for the invitation. I feel very, very honored and blessed to be here on your platform today. I'm all the way from Johannesburg in South Africa. So yes, I am on the other side. It feels like I'm on the other side of the world.
Yeah.
I come from a dance background. So since I can remember as a child, all I wanted to be is a dancer, and all I wanted to do was go to ballet school. So my journey, I started ballet at 6, and then went to ballet school. And after ballet school, did a performance certificate at the University of Cape Town School of Dance. And my whole dance career, I had lots of injuries. So actually, my dream was to dance overseas and to dance professionally. And I think the ballet was really quite hard on my system. So in 96 at Cape Town University, I did a winter school and I was doing a leap across the dance floor and my knee went out and it didn't come back in. So I suffered a lot with my ballet career with subluxation in my knee joints. And then at the ballet school, it went out and it didn't come back in. So I had to have a knee realignment operation. And I thought at this point, this was the end of my dance career. But actually, one of my dance teachers at the time introduced me to Pilates. So this is where my healing journey actually started. So it's really within 8 months, there was a teacher from California in Cape Town at the time. So I did 8 months of intense rehab. And she got me back onto the dance floor. And this is when I decided now I'm going to audition for London. And I managed to get into London Contemporary Dance School where I did my degree. And when I arrived in London, I realized my training in South Africa was hard in my system, and going more into the contemporary world allowed me to be less hard and less forceful in my system.
Yes.
And it was in London that I discovered Feldenkrais. Scott Clark was teaching at Siobhan Davis Dance Company, and it was one of my dreams to dance in her company. And I attended a lot of company classes, and I loved the way that Scott was integrating the Feldenkrais work with dance. And, you know, earlier on in my dance career, my dance teachers would always say to me, Monia, you're not expressive enough. You're not smiling. So I would get all these cards, remember to smile, remember to smile. So I've had this whole obsession about I can't express. I don't know how to express myself through movement. And through Feldenkrais, being able to be on the floor and just I found somehow, you know, it's difficult to describe, but I could access being myself in movement and then integrate it into dancing. So for me, that was a beautiful experience. And that stayed with me. And I finished my dance career at London Contemporary, and did lots of dance auditions, but was not successful. And I decided, maybe this is a time to do my Pilates training. So I did a full comprehensive Pilates certification in London. And that was a really wonderful process of getting into rehabilitation. So my interest really took me back to my own rehab process. And I think this is where my ability to work with people and tune into their pain was really a strength for me, because I could relate. When somebody comes with pain, I know what it feels like and I can empathize with that. So that was one element. But it's my whole journey myself has also been my own working on myself, discovering in London that I'm always running away from myself and I'm not able to sustain relationships, and what's going on inside Monya. So the somatic journey really started from when I came back from London in 2003. I came back to South Africa, not succeeding in becoming a professional dancer, and I didn't want to leave London. But at the time, my father was paying for all my studies, and I had to come back. So I started teaching Pilates in South Africa and was very successful. But I also started the process of psychotherapy, just understanding more myself. And I realized the more clients I saw with pain, that pain goes beyond the physical. And there's an emotional side. And if we don't deal with the emotions, we will just focus on the external. So for me, it's been a process, and it still is a process to go inward. And I think that's why I loved, when you asked me to be on the podcast, this exploring the sensory part and how it's so difficult for people to access that go inside and feel.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's how my somatic journey started. And now, it's taken me to do a Feldenkrais training in Switzerland with Elizabeth Beringer, which was amazing. And it was at the training there that I realized my interest working with children and how I wanted to work with babies. And then I managed to get into Chava Shelav's work, and out of that, my nonprofit started. So it's just, a beautiful journey that keeps unfolding. And now I never thought I would be teaching tango, and I am a tango teacher here in Johannesburg, teaching absolute beginners. So people who has never danced before, I get them to dance. And it actually started during COVID, where I was planning to actually start Feldenkrais and tango. And then COVID hit. So for about a year, I started teaching online, and where the people had to work with themselves. And then after COVID, when we got back into class and we had to partner up, they could dance. So for me, that was a beautiful journey, and it just keeps on unfolding. So yeah, it's lots to do, and I'm very happy with where I'm at the moment.
An endless journey of
Yes.
discovering the body, because like what you said, when you go inside, everything starts to unfold. And I believe that we become so derailed by the outcome. Like you said that you had the dream of becoming a ballet dancer since you were little. I have practically the same journey of dancing, injuries, Pilates, then somatic movement, then coming back to dancing, but from another angle that is even better than the previous. And I feel that as a whole in society, we have this huge blind spot of believing that just by striving for the end goal, we're gonna arrive there. And the reality is that not everybody arrives following that path, and not everyone arrives well, especially because the process are not nurturing or sustaining for the state necessary for the becoming to unfold. So a lot of people want to be like millionaires or high executives or singers or gymnasts or whatever. They have the dream, but the process is is bypassed, and it's ridiculous being like in this wheel of wanting to attain and get more and get more. And a typical example is ballet. Like ballet should be a pleasure, and the truth is that that is one of the most toxic environments. Like the criticism I had against my body were criticisms just for being a woman. Like, you're fat, I cannot let you go on stage with those boobs and ass bouncing. And later on I realized that that's what boobs and asses do when they are set free. They bounce, like they are greased. And I was like super skinny and training super hard, and there was this idea of nothing was never good enough, no matter what I did. And after the injuries, and after you go and fill the gaps in your developmental process, you realize that you are not the problem, and maybe not even the teacher, but this like mind frame as a whole of thinking that pleasure is the outcome, and that we have to pay a high price, like even a sacrifice, to get the pleasure of achieving what we want in a very transactional way. And this is what kills pleasure itself in every area. Like what is the pleasure of having eaten a whole pizza? Like, I already finished the pizza, now what? Like, the pleasure is actually in the delight in the moment, and in the unfolding. And it's beautiful to have the tools of this somatic movement approach, because then you go from trying to get there to actually doing what you're doing now in an explorative way. And that has such a power that has people dancing tango, and these are people that have never ever danced in their life. So I love to see in your work like this, well, transformative approach, not only with your clients, with your own body, but like in our culture. Like, this is so important in many ways. So I am curious to know what sparked your interest specifically in tango.
I don't know. I think I just wanted to try a different dance form. I've done ballet, I've done contemporary, I've done African dance, and I did a lot of salsa, kizomba, bachata, so Latin American. And I was actually about 10 years ago, I was engaged to a man, and I thought, let's try something together. And because of my dance background, since he's never done tango and neither did I thought this would be a good opportunity. So we tried, and what's interesting is we were not able to fit together. And tango is all about walking and connection. And already then the warning sign should have said, Monia, if you can't tango together, this is not going to work. And it took me a couple of years to realize after the Feldenkrais training that this relationship is not going to last. But then I continued tango by myself, And there's a Italian teacher, Emiliano Fernandez from Italy. And I started lessons with him. And then we had a teacher from Buenos Aires, Andrea Ujitel. And she combined the Alexander technique, which is also somatic, with tango and a lot of self-touch and touching the partner. And for me, that was the hook, because for me, it was not just about learning steps and sequences that I can do, but I want to be able to feel again that expression. So in tango, I had to learn to surrender and not anticipate, really the connection. So that's really what drew me, and I was very fortunate to learn from a teacher from Buenos Aires, Carlos Alberti. He's a Melonguero teacher based in Amsterdam. And I just fell in love with a close embrace. You know, it's like hugging someone and dancing in a hug, in a soft hug. So that was really what hooked me. And since then, it's a continuous journey, and I love learning and now teaching and seeing that I'm able to get people to dance who's never danced in their lives. I think that's amazing to see that. And that's also from the Feldenkrais background, that being able to bring in some of the elements from Feldenkrais into my tango. Yeah.
Wow.
So that's my tango journey.
Tango journey.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I recall one time that I took a tango. Well, actually, my mom was taking like a seminar, and I sneaked with her into her tango class. And there was an Argentinian teacher. This was like over 25 years ago, and he asked me to stand up and demonstrate with him. And I was like, I have never danced tango nor done anything, like super shy with super top dancers all around. And I was like 14 years old. And I remember this guy, maybe he was 70 years old, super tall, super skinny. And I was like, I hope I don't break him. And it was amazing because he, in a way, danced me. Like, I don't know how he touched me and how he positioned himself, that it was it was very strange, this sensation of just walking, but it was like a falling upward, and it was slow, but at the same time very fluid and very solid. Like he positioned his feet against my feet, and the angles in a way that I couldn't do anything but step backwards or sideways. Like, it's not that I was a puppet, but that we both were sharing center in a very interesting way.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a meaningful first glimpse of this dance of polarity, of one person leading and the other person following. But it was like so clear, and it was even relaxing for me. Like, oh, this is nice. Like, I don't even have to think nor do anything. Like, I'm just here, like, enjoying the wind or whatever. And I realized that I actually miss that feeling, because in my everyday life, I am doing everything. I'm leading, I'm following myself. Like, I make a plan, and then I follow the plan. And yeah, definitely tango, I can tell from that experience, is a bearing practice. Like you, in a way, become naked of movement masks. Like, you cannot hide. And as it's so, like, clean and aligned, you cannot mask uh, what's going on with superficial mannerisms. And for me, it's also confronting to step into this other role of following, of course, like the you can be a woman and you can lead in tango and dance with another woman or dance with another man, but the roles are clear. So I am curious on how was it for you? Like, did you have like this confrontation as me, like, okay, I am usually leading and now this is the one that has to lead, and how is it for me to follow? How was it for you?
I think, the first process was getting out of my thinking
Okay.
and not anticipating, because I couldn't relax. And one of my teachers kept shouting, relax, relax. And the more he shouted at me, relax, the less so that was a discovery I had to find again. And I think that's something I'd like us to talk about, because I have a lot of people that come into dancing with a lot of tension. And how do we let go of this tension? How do we surrender?
Yes.
And we first need to be able to feel that I'm tense. And when I feel I'm tense, I can then do something. And this is where, Moshe says, if you know what you're doing, you can do what you want. And I think this is, our lives is so busy. We are so consumed with the outer world. And I think for me, it was a process to also come to a quiet place. When I am quiet, my mind can quieten. And then I had to undo this constant thinking. So that was a process. And I think that is what inspired me to become a leader in tango. And I'm now also learning to lead in Kizomba, which is a Angolan African tango, and to switch from the follower. I think for me, the follower became a very passive part. If a man can dance well, he can lead me well, and I just follow. And the man makes me look great. But the moment I had to switch roles as a leader, my whole thinking I had to really, because now I have to communicate to you where I want you to go. And for me to find that in my body it's been really a very challenging and humbling process. So I think that's why I took absolute beginners, because that was so through my teaching, I am learning myself, how do I communicate? And that's, I think, another thing about tango is conversation, and how we have to communicate so clearly. And even in life, how do we don't listen to each other. We're so ready to just respond. I don't give you a chance to finish your sentence. So, and can I actually hear what you're saying? And for me, that's what tango is we have to be so in tune with each other and constant listening. So for me, the leading part has been absolutely such a learning in my own life, because I'm learning to really listen to myself and listen to the other, which also heightens the sensitivity. So yeah, I hope that answers your
Yes.
question.
Listening
Mm,
to oneself heightens
mm,
the sensitivity. I never thought about leading in that way, but it's true. Like, if you are to lead someone, first and foremost, you have to lead yourself, and you have better be very clear where and how you're standing, and where you and how are going, to
mm,
then communicate it. And that's the magic of this old Argentinian teacher back in the day. Like, he was so clear, and at the same way, like, he was not macho at all. Like, he was not imposing, intrusive, trespassing, but he was like in a mastery of his masculine position of of leading in a traditional way. Like he was elegant and gentle. Like, I am offering this, but I am offering this not shy or insecure or confused or afraid that you are gonna reject me. No, he was firm and gentle and like reliable. So much that I just I surrendered immediately without knowing how to dance. Like he did that part, and it's surprising that how having this integrated way of being communicates in such a clear way. I don't remember he saying any words nor asking permission. For sure, he asked, like, he extended the invitation, I accepted, but in the way that he conveyed the invitation and in the way he conveyed the direction, like, he had me trust him at a deep, fleshly, somatic level, even though I was super nervous, super young, never danced before, whatever. And I am now fascinated to understand how important this integrity in being is important in life. Not only for men, but for women and everyone when assuming the leading role, starting with assuming the leading role of yourself and your life. And of course,
Yes.
if you have that clarity, of course you will know who has embodied that quality as well, to the point that you can trust and surrender and let yourself be guided. And yeah, but I thought myself of as a good leader, and yes, I am to a certain point, but this is a refined way because it comes from the body. It's like tango happens so fast, even though it's tempered and clean and clear and everything. Like, you don't have the time for 1 hour conversation with words on how to do the next step. Like, either you're in it fully and communicate through your whole self and action in such a way that the other person understands and is able to decide and act.
But there's something also about intention,
Yes.
because in the Milonguero tango, the only communication is from the chest. So as a leader, I have a split second where I have to indicate to you that now you're going to step, and then I step with you. So that is, it's not I go and then you go and then we go together. It's really something as that's the challenge. And if you learn Milonguero, once you dance Milonguero, and that intention comes from the heart almost, and that's to refine that, and that's for me been the most challenging process, is how do I communicate that intention to you without words, and to be it's so sensitive, yeah. I think force, again, it comes in, like, people, we're so conditioned, we need to work hard, push ourselves, and here it's just that if my intention is clear, it works.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's
Intention.
again, intention and softening.
Yes. Wow. And wow, the chest, like, it's straight from the heart. So there's also a surrendering in being so transparent and like showing your intention, and it you better show it, and it better be clear, and it better be from the heart, because this is like the connection of the chest, like the skeletal connection is like the pivotal point for movement in any direction. So if it's not clear, like, you both can end with your face flat on the floor.
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
because it's sharing center, but it's not in the pelvis, like, but the weight is in the pelvis, but the pivot is in the heart. And then wow, I I just discovered my rib cage like 3 months ago. Like,
Mhm.
I have moved my pelvis a lot, and I teach a lot from the pelvis in a very Pilates way, scope and Graham technique, and the heart and the center, the center, the center. But after a bad shoulder injury, I deepened into the Feldenkrais lessons for the chest and shoulders, doing all the Hanukkah arm stuff.
Mm.
And it was like, wow, like that. The real potency, it's not streaming from the pelvis, but really from the chest and the rib cage. So for me, it's been like a huge revelation to understand that my heart is not caged, because the rib cage is more like a rib basket, or like a spring, or yeah, because there is movement in the upper ribs, though they are pretty much attached to the breastbone, and there's a bunch of muscles in the shoulders and stuff. But it's been like revealing and even cathartic to move this area of my body. Like, wow, I can move the bones that are literally around my heart. So I am curious if you have ever had like a sensation of, wow, this is a special area. Like, how has been your journey with the rib cage department, and the mystery of the heart itself?
Well, I have since, my somatic journey has taken me totally out of the mechanics of the body rather than to the feeling part. So I found, a big part of tango is the music. And that's something, we can explore a little bit later, is when, how do we get people to feel what they're feeling? So you come in to a class, you had a stressful day. So to tell a person, you need to relax, you need to pull your shoulders back, or, your chest is tight, or tango is a lot of spiraling. And if there's no differentiation, it makes it very difficult. So people tense up more, and then we're dancing together. And if you're dancing with a partner that's not relaxed, it becomes very complex. So I like to first use the music as a way of getting into the body. And tango music is not something that, for me, when I first listened to it, I thought, not ever will I love or fall in love with this music. And it took me a long time. And now that I'm even playing music and milongas myself, you can feel that. I think listening to a song and then feeling, what does this song do for me? Can I soften into it? Maybe it's a song that is maybe hard rhythmical, so it requires more energy. If it's melodic, it makes the movement can be smoother. And to feel that, and then to add the movement. So for me, I am really learning to bring my mood and my emotion. And tango, it's very fiery, because when I teach, I can find if a student is not getting what I want them to understand, how my energy of frustration just comes out, and how do I manage that, because I can't project that. So for me, it's been very interesting, more the process of, when we talk about the heart, is what is the mood, what is the feeling around the heart, and what does that make the chest feel like? If I'm feeling low in energy today and depressed, I am going to be dancing like this. I'm going to come in here with my body is going to be closed. If I have a great day and I feel happy, I will show it. So for me, I'm exploring more on the show me with your body what it feels like, and then what is the music telling you? Is the music energetic? Is the music sad? And it's, I think for Spanish people who can understand the songs of tango, that makes it even more special, because once you know the words that's being sung, that gives another layer. So I think, there's so many layers we can peel off. And I think that is the layers that coming from a dance background, looking at the body from the outside. And
Yes.
now my discovery is more, how do we get people to go inside? That is the challenge.
Yeah, that's the challenge of sensuality. Going inside to feel, like, bring your mood, bring your emotions, like, instead of projecting it outwards, like mindlessly, like, just sense what's going on, and then, like, tell me with your movement what you're feeling. And that is, like, daring. Well, at the same time, that's our natural way. Like, we were babies and we cried and we throw things away and we cuddled, and, like, there was no problem. We were in this state of non-anticipation, full spontaneity, full receptivity, and full expressiveness, free from inhibition, like, free from stiffness. Like, this is transparently what I am sensing from the world, and this is transparently my expression of the inner experience of what it's going on. So what's the main tool that you use for yourself and for your students to become more comfortable, to open the heart in a way by dancing tango?
It's a great question, but it's a process, because everybody, has they come with their own personality. And for me, it's important to let students feel confident and feel that they're capable. So it is to gauge, where can I start, so that everybody can do something, and I'm even finding shifting weight, is one of the most difficult things. And in tango, last week, for example, I'm a very kinesthetic person, but some people are more visual. Some people need explanation. So it's, as a teacher, to be able to use words, use demonstration, but then also feeling. So if I use the example of weight shifting, is I could see a student really knowing how to shift weight, and then there was a student that didn't shift her weight. He was swaying. So then to be able, similar to like in Feldenkrais, see the difference. Okay, can you see what weight shifting looks like? Can you see what swaying looks like? Trying that out for yourself. And if in tango, if you are not clear on shifting weight, you cannot dance together. So that is one example of really getting the students to feel when they move too much, when they move too little, and that is a process, and then building from there. So I take the element of
Walking.
walking like we go walking for a stroll in the park, and then walking with different size steps. Can you feel in your body if you're walking from your room to the kitchen, just naturally? What is your natural walk? What is an exaggerated walk? What is a very small walk? And what happens in your body when you take a big walk, when you take a smaller step? And then to add that to music brings another. So there's an explorative. Tango is about improvisation as well, So I never teach sequences. And later on we can have a little taste of that, of just walking and stepping and pausing and building your own. And that's been also a process for me, is learning. Yes, there's certain repertoire that, or steps if you like, that you need to understand and know, but how to play with that, and then how to play with that to music. And one of my teachers really said, to never teach music separate from tango. So we come from a conditioned way of, you look at a tango performance, I want to do that. I want to do all these saccadas and kicks, but it's another thing to be able to lead it and to feel well when it's led properly. So simplicity, I think the Milonguero tango is it's so natural, and it's how can we dance being ourselves, so that I'm not now showing, here is the ballet Monia, or here is the performance Monia. How can I, like I'm having a conversation with you, how can I translate that into my dancing? And so that I want to see you dancing, you, not dancing like me, the teacher. And I think that is the hardest process. It takes a lot of time, but get people to feel themselves. And
Yes.
yeah, I keep the lesson simple. And I'm very proud of my students when I see them dance, because it's people that has never danced before. Now I look at them and I think, wow, that's great. It's a slow process, but they're
Yeah.
confident.
Even
Yeah.
in themselves. Yes.
Mm.
Miles Davis, the Wanderers jazz player, he said, it takes a lot of time to sound like yourself. And it's, yeah, like, this is about the mastery of oneself. Like, you're the one that wants to be forth, to be transparent enough to let yourself be seen. And we have all this stuff of conditioning, of ideas, of insecurities, of inhibitions in the way, but it's so beautiful. Like, it's amazing how each and every one of us is so unique and so beautiful, but we are like still walling off from our own sensitivities. And I love the way that you are approaching tango, because it's a journey inward that then unfolds and expresses passionately outward. But it's not an overdoing, it's not a pretense, it's not a showing off. It's like the owning yourself with a divine pride. It's not like I am showing my skills or the best in me to get whatever. No, it's not transactional. It's like a flower blooming. Like, in a way, I feel that that's why we are here for, to know ourselves. The Delphi Oracle Tenet Noche, and And I would love to get me and for the sensualists here a taste of what we've been talking about. Can we get a taste of milonga?
Yes, yes. So I think what I had in mind is to there's the one tango song. One of my favorite orchestras is Carlos Di Sarli, and he's actually known as the Lord of Tango and from the Golden Age era. And I thought, let's listen to the song. It's about 2 minutes and 48 seconds. But as we listen, you might, for people who've never done tango, is the first impression is when I listen to the song, do I like it? What happens for me? And as you continue to listen, and that's why I'd like us for the first part to listen to the whole song, is when you'll notice that there's a spontaneous part of the body that might want to start moving. So right now we will start off sitting, and maybe you will sway, and it's interesting to observe people who come to tango. And maybe Feldenkrais even, when you have people who are not aware of themselves, their eyes are wide open and what is expected of me? Yeah. So I would invite you to sit, just be comfortable. And if you want to close your eyes, listen to the song and see if there's a sway that wants to happen, or see if you can also listen to, there's a specific beat, pulse to the music. And I like to tap my foot or tap on my leg just to see if you can feel the rhythm. And we can come back afterwards and just share what that experience was like for you. Okay, does that clear?
Perfect.
Okay.
I found the song. So shall I play it or
yes. I think if you can play it, let's see what the sound is. So it's the Cara Sucia song.
Yeah, Cara Sucia. So okay. Let's see if it works.
So I can't hear it. So I think you have to share your screen.
Okay.
And then share the sound. Otherwise,
it's not gonna work. Okay, so
no, you will hear the song. If you could probably, otherwise, if you give me permission to share, I can.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be more practical. I'm gonna make you host. Ready?
Yes.
Yeah, perfect.
So let me just see sound, and then just tell me if you're able to hear the song. Okay, so do you want to share something about what you felt?
I felt a bit discoordinated because I was overthinking. It was like, oh.
Okay, overthinking what? Overthinking what?
Like everybody is looking at me how unsynced I am. Yeah. So then I was like, no, okay, Candia, you have to feel. You don't have to think. Like remember what we have just said about and then I started to soften and like, okay, whatever, like just move the hands and follow the rhythm with your body. And then like I began to soften and to enjoy. But it was like I I got the feeling of the cue of relax, of the teacher screaming at you, relax, relax, and like that that it's not the key to relax. Like relaxing is the outcome, and thinking
Mm.
about relaxing, it's not necessarily gonna make you get more relaxed and soften. So then like I just listen to the music, and then I just like let myself be moved with the music and enjoy it because it's a great song, Cara Sucia.
Could you hear the beat of
Yeah.
the music? Yeah. Okay, so let's take it now. I won't play the whole song again, but maybe the first minute, because it's very clear. Tango, you can count in 8. So, 1, 2, so you can hear. So one phrase would be 8 beats, and then the second phrase would start. So you can count if you like, but what I'm interested now is, can you walk on the beat?
Okay.
So first think about, we're walking in the park. We're not walking, performing. So if you're a natural walk, but every step you take is on the beat of the music.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And if you're not walking, you can stand and shift your weight left and right, but on the beat of the music. Yeah. So let's see if you can, very natural. So we don't have to do anything with our arms. Just think about, I'm strolling down in the park, I'm going for a walk, and then can I walk to the beat and then also shifting weight on the spot. Okay, so we'll try that. So could you experience that walking
Yeah.
to the beat?
Yes,
Yeah.
you actually cured my arrhythmia.
Well, it's also different when we start walking, you see, because now normally we wouldn't be teaching and watching each other. It's an experience. But so now, when you start walking, it's important to feel, can I walk? Because now we're not dancing in partners, but if we had to be together, I have to communicate to you that we step together. Yeah, so that is the layers that you start to add on. So I want to do another step. So right now the beat is very clear, and after the minute you will hear a melodic sound. Yeah, so it's very lyrical, and when that happens, to not move.
Okay.
So you only walk when you hear the clear beat, and then when it's melodic, you don't walk, and feel what happens.
Okay.
When you have to pause. So when it's melodic, you don't have to freeze, but you don't walk. You can sway maybe on the spot if you want to, just see what the body likes to do. And then when you hear the beat, you walk again, or you shift your weight on the spot. Is that clear?
Yeah, it's clear. Perfect.
Okay, great. Okay. Could you feel that?
Yes, I could feel that. And it's been a huge realization that, of course, we walk with a rhythm. We have our rhythms in our life, and these rhythms can get in sync with another rhythms, which is super basic, but my controller anticipatory mind always wants to be in control. And then I get like derailed because one, it's not the same as seven that has two syllables. So you take more time to say seven than what you take to say one in your mind. So if like the counts, it's just a reference of the real count that is in your body. Like your sensations, your body is what keeps the rhythm. And it's what you said, like you can keep the rhythm with the heel or with the hand, and then you just like acknowledge, okay, this is the rhythm, this is one phrase, this is the other phrase. I am waiting for the minute mark to change to a more lyrical and melodical music. So now I really felt a difference between the first go and this third go, because my scope of awareness was different. Now I am involving the awareness of the sensation of the body that is prior to the thinking and the language and the discourse.
So can we add one more element?
Yes.
So let's play with the size of the steps. So just maybe if you stand up in your room for the moment. So we're not going to do that with music. So you just stand up and I will guide you through it. So just walk in your room like your natural steps, like you're going to the bathroom or the kitchen. Just walking and feel what is the natural size of my steps. I'm not making them bigger. I'm not making them smaller. This is how I walk from my bathroom to my bedroom or to my kitchen. And now make your steps very small and feel what it's like without slowing the pace. So can we still keep to the beat, but you make it smaller? Feel what that does in the body when you make smaller steps, and then walk naturally again. Just feel the difference transitioning from your natural walking to small steps. Yeah, still keeping the beat of the music, or the counting right now, which is on 1. Now exaggerate your steps. Make it really big, like you're taking a giant step, but still on 1. Yeah, so now you can play with, I can take a giant step once or twice, I can walk naturally, and I can do small steps. And now we're going to play with that with the music. So you still keep to the beat of the music, but we play with the sizes of the steps. Okay? So we'll just do the first minute of the song, which is very rhythmical. And so you can just work with the different sizes of the steps. Let me just share my screen again. So can you see how you can get a person out of their thinking head? And it's actually quite challenging because you need to still keep to the beat, but not tensing up when you make smaller steps, not going outside of yourself when you make larger steps. So, and we try then in partners to communicate that. So the tango, a lot of people think it's so serious, but I think there's a playfulness. If you can bring that lightness in, then it's quite fun. And then people can relax instead of shouting, relax, relax. Yes. Just let it happen. So I come up, I create things as I go along, and get people to also, I choose one song and I play it over and over so that they also start to recognize. And when we dance in milongas, then, when they recognize the song, you can start to play with your movements and communicate so it's not so in one tone. And that's another challenge in the dance, is how do you dance with integrating all these rhythmical elements. So there's so many layers, so you can never get bored with tango.
Never get bored with tango. Yes, yes, I'm loving this possibility of making different steps in the same tempo, because it becomes playful. And it's
Mm.
it's a spontaneous state of awareness where it's a state of readiness, that
Mm.
freedom, that okay, I can make a huge step, a normal step, a mini step, and by the end I was mixing like, okay, big,
Yes.
now small, 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 normal, 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 big, small, big, big, big. And it's like it's playful, and
Yes.
it's efficient, and it's relaxed.
And improvisational as well, because you're creating it.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
create in the
It's not.
moment. So
Mm.
these are split second decisions, and I'm loving this because like this is the ultimate state of meditation, which is
Mm.
in actuality very playful and known to us,
Mm.
because
Yeah.
we spent years as babies and little kids, like we discovered how to walk by ourselves. Like yes, we saw everyone walking, but we didn't took a milonga class on how to step one feet and the other. So
Mm.
that's our natural skill of strength, and strength of learning with this playful and spontaneous and extremely effective way and approach. And
And I think also if you can dance by yourself, so that's another thing is when we come together as a couple, I'm not hanging on you and relying on you to keep me up, and you're not relying on me. So if I can carry my own weight and you can carry your own weight, then the dancing is so much lighter. I think that is the other thing in the beginning. The follower thinks, well, I can just depend on the leader, but there is no, leading following is really this balance. There's this 1 or 2% that the leader has to do extra, but really it's, we have to take accountability. I love
yes,
that word, for ourselves, and responsibility,
yeah, yeah.
Yes.
And it's an accountability and responsibility in a way of a certain liberty, that I take account responsibility of myself, because
Mm.
in a way, no, not in a way, I fully want to do as I want, like
Yeah.
and there's no other way to do that if I am not responsible for myself. And this
Mm.
thing of carrying your weight and not expecting the leader part to carry your weight, or you as a leader to carry the weight of the other as a burden, because being the follower, it's not being a sack of potatoes that is just dropping yourself and abandoning
Yeah.
yourself there. It's different, the self-abandoning, than the, in a way, devotional surrender. And I fully get what you say, that maybe it's 1 or 2% more that the leading role does, but the following part has also the challenge of not doing 1 or 2% with that. Is actually very challenging. The, at least for me, oftentimes it's more challenging to not do than to do, because I am an
Mm.
overdoer. So like, okay, it's better to pause, it's better to wait, it's better to listen, it's better to receive for now. So in a way, the follower creates this warm space for the leader part to come in. And this is beautiful. So it's not like, oh, I am doing less, and I am being lazy. No, actually that doing less is the act of not doing.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, yes. This is fascinating.
Oh,
So
okay.
much life wisdom in Feldentango.
It's beautiful. Yeah, I think tango is life. You can
Tango is
pick
life.
up so much about your own life, and that's what I love. One of my life passions is learning. So, teaching, being a follower, being a leader, I learned so much about myself and how to communicate better. And then applying it, same as Feldenkrais, how to apply it in your daily life. And how do I apply what I learn in tango in my daily life? So for me, that's the integration of
That's the
somatics.
integration. Yeah, I finally got the click when you said like walking as you go on a stroll park. Like it's your, we are not separated, and it's this integrating the aspects of ourselves. And there's so much to this, like you say, tango is life. So how can we learn more about this, Sonia?
Oh, I have a website, beautifulmind.co.za. I must say, I'm not very good when it comes to putting myself out there. But on the website, it gives some of my nonprofit work, my tango work, Feldenkrais work. I am on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, I'm on LinkedIn. So if you Google Monia Boonzaar, you'll find me. And I think it just, I always invite people just to start a conversation and just to connect. I think that is, I like to just engage with people and see what is it that they would like from the session, whether it's dancing or Feldenkrais or with working with babies and parents. So it's nice to be versatile. So yeah, just I am out there. So just please reach out to connect. I am the only Feldenkrais teacher in Johannesburg. We are 4 in the entire South Africa. So it can sometimes be quite lonely here, and it's lovely to engage with fellow colleagues. So thank you. I really appreciate the invitation.
Sure. It's very happy to have you here, Monia. And it's so refreshing and heartwarming to have this approach to tango and life that is welcoming. It's not intimidating, it's not demanding, but it's effective. It has a discipline to it, but especially it has a delight to it in each step. So really appreciate it. Thank you so much.